Graduates, you may be seated. Welcome to the Mary Frances Early College of Education Convocation for Summer and Fall 2022 graduates. My name is Denise Spangler, and I have the honor of serving as the Dean of the Mary Frances Early College of Education. The college was founded in 1908 to bring teacher education to the state of Georgia. Since then, we have grown and matured as a college, branching out into fields as diverse as speech pathology, athletic training, sport management, and student affairs leadership. And in 2020, the college was named for Mary Frances Early, the first African-American graduate of UGA. It is an incredible honor for our college to bear her name, and we are aware that we must all hold ourselves to high standards and ideals that Ms. Early exemplifies. The mission of the College of Education is to enhance the well-being of society through scholarship, teaching, and research. We are committed to accomplishing this mission by promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion for all people, conducting research that makes a difference, using innovative approaches to teaching, and improving the lives of the people of Georgia and beyond. We achieve our mission through the hard work and dedication of our 4,000 students, over 400 of whom are graduating this semester, and our 210 faculty and 140 staff members. Graduates, you have truly been part of something special here in the College of Education. Whether through service learning, research internships, student organizations, or other avenues, you have been part of making the world a better place. I want to share with you a few statistics to help you put into perspective what you have achieved. A study from Harvard University showed that fewer than 7% of the people in the world hold a bachelor's degree. And according to the US Census Bureau, only 9% of people in the United States have master's degrees, and only 2% have doctoral degrees. Stop and think about that for a minute. You are indeed among a very special group of people for what you have accomplished. And you didn't just earn a degree. Many of you have provided important service to the community through service learning activities, contributed to building knowledge through research, or broadened your own horizons with experiential learning opportunities such as study abroad or internships. Sitting among you are students who have started nonprofits, created a school supply closet for your peers in need, funded a scholarship in memory of a classmate, and contributed hundreds of hours of volunteer time to organizations on our campus and in our community. Some of you earned your degrees while working, taking care of your children or your parents, blazing your own trail as the first person in your family to attend college or graduate school, yay Tri Alpha, and you did this part of the time while enduring a pandemic. And while you have indeed accomplished something extraordinary by earning an undergraduate or graduate degree, I want you to remember that you are among the very privileged few who had the opportunity to earn a degree. Thus, it is incumbent upon you to use your degree to make the world a better place. This is a day to celebrate you and your passion for learning and helping others. To help us mark this special occasion and to give you an image of the future you have ahead of you, we invite one of our distinguished alumni to address our graduates at each convocation. This year's speaker has had a remarkable career, and we are honored that she is here with us to celebrate this special occasion. Kim Bearden is the co-founder, executive director, and language arts teacher at the highly acclaimed Ron Clark Academy, an innovative nonprofit middle school and educator training facility in Atlanta. The Academy seeks to extend its reach upon its student body by having an impact on students everywhere through its immersive professional development program. More than 100,000 educators from around the world have visited Kim's classroom, have attended her workshops to learn better ways to engage students, promote academic excellence, build relationships, foster creativity, and create a climate and culture for success. Throughout her career, Kim has received numerous accolades, such as being honored at the White House for being inducted into the National Teachers Hall of Fame. She was chosen from over 70,000 nominees to be honored as the Disney American Teacher Award's Outstanding Humanities Teacher, and the Milken Family Foundation selected her to receive the Award for Excellence in Education. She's the winner of the Influence Her Award, the University of Georgia Outstanding Educator Award, and the TurkNet Character Award for Servant Leadership. A former Cobb County Teacher of the Year and finalist for Georgia Teacher of the Year, she is also the recipient of the Atlanta Dream Inspiring Women Award, the Atlanta Phoenix Award, and the Atlanta Tribune's Power of Education Hall of Fame. Mercedes-Benz recognized Kim in their Greatness Lives Here campaign, and Women Works Media named her one of Georgia's most powerful and influential women. Over the past 36 years, she's been a teacher, instructional lead teacher, curriculum developer, school board member, staff development trainer, and middle school principal. She's also the best-selling author of 3 books. Additionally, Kim shares her passion and love for her craft with audiences around the world as a keynote speaker and professional development trainer. Kim lives near Atlanta with her husband Scotty, and she's the mother of 4. Her 3 sons and daughter are now adults who all reside in Metro Atlanta, and 2 of her sons are here with her today. Kim, we look forward to your remarks.
Thank you, Dean Spangler. To the class of 2022, it is a tremendous honor to stand before you today as you embark on a new beginning, one that undoubtedly fills you with a confounding, bittersweet mixture of hope and hesitation, joyful memories, and sorrowful goodbyes. Your time here has been a unique one in history, one that is different than anyone could ever have predicted. The outstanding education you received here was not only academic. Your life was upended by a global pandemic. And I know that when you dreamt of college, you did not know that you could imagine your socialization being affected by isolation or your academic tasks being completed while wearing masks. It was June of 1987 where I sat in your place, and I was 21 years old, and I had just been hired for my first teaching position. I realized that my graduation seems like lifetimes ago to you, and that my world was not upended by COVID-19 while I was still in college. So what can I possibly say that would have any relevance for you? So very much has changed over these decades, yet so many things remain true. You have been forced to face a life of uncertainty. However, make no mistake, there are some truths of which we can be certain, no matter the current state of our world. Over the course of my career, I have taught thousands of lessons to thousands of students. And while good grammar and punctuation is my passion, please always use your apostrophes correctly, a good life is even more meaningful. So today, I want to share the most meaningful lessons I know with you. First, when we feel beaten down, broken down, overworked, or underappreciated, we often turn inward. We can be surrounded by people, yet we feel completely alone. We can have the talent to propel ourselves forward, yet we remain paralyzed. When something happens to us, we often think that something might be wrong with us. When life gets hard, instead of turning inward, you must turn outward and lift others upward. In doing so, you will pull yourself up as well. And here's the good news. You will soon be the educators, the counselors, the psychologists, the speech pathologists, the sports managers, those who work in student affairs and exercise scientists. In other words, you will be the helpers. And it is the helpers who not only have the greatest capacity to support others, but also to live a life that is full of purpose. No matter what obstacles come your way, whether they be professional issues or personal issues, your obstacles do not define you. How you choose to live your life will be what will set you apart. The light that is within you will be its brightest when you shine it upon others. In other words, it is not what happens to you that defines who you are. It is what happens through you that will write the pages of your story. When we experience pain, sorrow, or trauma, we often feel weak and small. And if this happens, you must redefine power. If you define power as your ability to control things, well, COVID taught us a lesson, right? If you define power as the stuff you have, well, there's nothing wrong with working hard to have nice things. But we all know if that's the only thing that fuels you and drives you, then that is a hunger that will never be satisfied. A greater kind of power is when you empower others. You see, when you empower others, the exponential effect goes on forever. The people you uplift will uplift others who uplift others. The ripple effect will continue on and on. When you affect the life of another person, you do not only affect that person's life, Indirectly, your life will have an impact upon everyone that person will affect in their future. Multiply that by the number of days that you help people. Multiply that by the number of years you will be in your profession. Without any doubt, it could be in the millions of lives that will be affected by yours. And on those nights when you lie awake and you wonder if you matter, the answer will be yes. The answer will always be yes. In the wee hours of the night, it is usually significance that our hearts truly desire. We want to know that our life matters, that it counts for something, that we have affected others in exponential ways. So, you must seek significance, not achievements. Achievements are about getting something, but significance, it's about being something. And when you're seeking significance, the achievements still happen. You heard my bio. But when they don't, when you get a no that you thought would be a yes, or maybe that door closes that you thought would be open, it still hurts. But you will be able to understand that maybe, just maybe, that door closed because you're supposed to go through another door instead. Next, surround yourself with people who fuel your soul. Look for people who seek insight, wisdom, truth, solutions, those who are truly the helpers. And be intentional about seeking out relationships with some people who do not look just like you. Build meaningful relationships, not just acquaintances, not just pleasantries, with people who have walked a different path, who have seen the world through a different lens, who have experienced a different set of circumstances. In doing so, it will make you a better helper and a better, more fulfilled human being. Now, how do you build such relationships? Always remember that knowledge is not the same as wisdom. I know some very old, book-smart people who are miserable fools. Listen more than you speak. Always take into consideration that there could be more to the story, and you can never fully understand what it is to walk in someone else's shoes, no matter how hard you try. However, never stop trying anyway. Still, even if you live life this way, not everyone will like you, and that is okay. Never be afraid to fight for what is right or what you believe in, even if it ruffles some feathers. The naysayers, the gossipers, and the haters, they will come and go, but you will be stuck with yourself for life. So be someone you are proud to know and proud of your worth. Having self-confidence, it really shows the appreciation for the gifts and talents you've been given. Be a realist, but understand that appreciation is fuel for the soul. It can help your emotional, your spiritual, and even sometimes your physical well-being. Even in the midst of sorrow, there is always joy to be found. Look for it with all that is within you. Your physical health is a gift. Do not take it for granted. If you are able to walk, then please do not complain about walking far. Run, dance, twirl, skip, bend, lift, reach, stretch. Have you ever stopped to think about all the things that your hands can do? Your feet. Your arms give you the capacity to hug someone and pour comfort and affection and love into them. Your ears allow you to experience the thunder of music and laughter. Your eyes, they enable you to experience and behold the glory of a sunset and the stars. Your tongue allows you to savor flavors and speak words into others. Your heartbeat is the very rhythm of your being. Work hard. Do not buy into the narrative that taking care of yourself does not mean that you should also be working diligently to achieve your goals. A good marriage? Hard work. Good parents? Hard work. A meaningful, successful career that brings you joy and purpose? Hard work. Paying your bills? Hard work. Look, I love a massage, a manicure, and me time as much as the next girl. But the greatest things that you build, create, imagine, or dream of will take hard work to implement. And the things that you work hard to accomplish quite often lead to the greatest blessings and the greatest sense of satisfaction. So, that 21-year-old girl from 1987, what did she go on to do with her degree from the University of Georgia? I have been blessed with a 36-year career as an educator, and in 2007, I co-founded the Ron Clark Academy. We are a nonprofit school in Atlanta, and I'm also the executive director and a language arts teacher there. It is our mission to affect as many children in this world as we possibly can. How do we do that? Through their teachers. So every year, thousands of educators from around the world come to our school, sit in our classrooms, and attend our workshops to learn better ways to reach and teach their students. We work hard, very hard, but it is work that is filled with passion, power, and purpose. It is significant. When I go to meet my Maker, I want to be able to say that I found beauty in brokenness and that I sought significance over achievements. I want to know that my happiness came from spreading joy to others and that I fought for what I believed in no matter how difficult the circumstances. I want to know that I didn't find my confidence in how others saw me. I found it through seeing the positive influence that I could have upon others. I want to be able to say that I measured my success by how I lived my life for the world, not by how I lived it for myself. When I am gone, I want there to be more laughter than tears because my life was one that was well used. I want the same for you, dear graduates. When we imagine our futures, we have an image of what we think our best lives should be. But what we envision is often short-sighted. We fail to realize that we cannot truly understand joy if we have never experienced sorrow. We can never truly comprehend love without heartbreak. We cannot fully understand the appreciation of having unless we have experienced not having. Remember, it is the valleys of life that make the ascent to the mountaintops all the more glorious to behold. Rise up and step into the depth and breadth of your power as you boldly proclaim your worth and your purpose. Choose living over simply existing. Exude what you hope to create. Let no one silence you. The world is waiting to hear from you. The best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. I hope we'll all take your advice to seek significance rather than achievement, turn outward to lift up others, look for multiple perspectives on every situation, and fight for what is right. Now we're going to turn our attention to recognizing our graduates who have earned bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, or specialist degrees this semester. The graduates will approach the stage from the audience right, and they will be introduced by department and by degree. But please keep in mind that the graduates will not necessarily be called in alphabetical order. Graduates, I know that the pandemic is over, but we've got all sorts of germs running around these days, and we all have different levels of comfort with shaking hands now. So if you want to shake hands, extend your hand to me and I will reciprocate. If you don't want to shake hands, just keep your hands by your side and I will congratulate you with a smile. It's entirely your choice based on your comfort level. All right. Dr. Bob Capuzzo, Clinical Associate Professor of Elementary Education, will read a description of each department before its graduates are introduced. So we can begin lining up the graduates.
We begin our recognition of graduates this afternoon with the Department of Communication Sciences and Special Education. These new alumni are research-based professionals who focus their efforts on meeting the individual needs of people who can benefit from multiple approaches to teaching, learning, and communication. Graduates have earned degrees in communication sciences and disorders and special education.
Rachel Faith Blanton.
Nora Mary Seward. Callie Jordan Youngblood. Stephanie Nicole Riley.
Jaquay Calhoun Johnson.
Brittany Evans Roberts.
Alexis Nicole Howells.
Hannah McClung Medhurst.
Julie Catherine Donovan.
Robert Thomas Rhodes. Allison Denise Smith.
Melanie Krista Joseph. Brianna Grace Guess.
Sophie Zena Schiff. Peyton Haley Wolf. Anna Helen McKelvey.
Madeline Guerin Drives. Madeline Lee Griffin. Leah Joy Idichandi. Hannah Grace Foster. Aubrey Grace James. Alexa Michelle Johansson.
Our next graduates have earned degrees from the Department of Educational Theory and Practice. This department prepares its alumni for careers as educators and researchers focused on children and adolescents, their families, and their communities, with an emphasis on fostering equity and social justice. Students graduating from this department have earned degrees in elementary education or middle grades education.
Kristen J. Pasilio. Donna Young Trang.
Julia Caitlin Hicks.
Jordan Elizabeth Riley. Aaron Graham Osborne.
Katie Anna Lemon. Megan Riley DeRusha.
Monique Alexis Sheldon. Kayla Rachel Martin. Caroline Elizabeth Parham. Brooke Alexandra Newland. Megan Lee Smith.
Rachel Leanna Buffa. Mallory Marie Armstrong. Stephanie Angeline Bullock.
Haley S. Morgan.
Olivia Lavos Kogel. Rachel Elaine Jarnigan.
Ana Belen Madrid Noonan.
Jordan Alexis Davis.
Debriana Denise Ross.
Taya Melise Alexander.
Ana Patricia Navarro.
Hannah H. Chung.
Jalen Renee Matthews.
Devin Victoria Altman. Tracy M. Edwards. Megan Faye Hackett. Olivia Grace DiNapoli. Lindsay Lee Green.
Anna Mercer Willingham. Yan Wu. Rebecca Page Speed.
Erica Grace Daniel. Olivia Ann Frank. Samantha Lauren Adams. Susan Holland Adams. Tillman H. Fossis. Ariana Catherine Crane. Peyton Elizabeth Lowry. Lauren Elizabeth Forbes. Taylor R. Farmer.
Paulina J. Potts.
Taylor Mackenzie Barge.
Albany Marie Tomsovic. Jamie Saunders. Tanner B. Euler.
Rhett A. Carroll. Anna Catherine Farr.
Chloe Hart, Missouri. Anna Caroline Pitstick. Kennedy Stovall.
Next, we recognize the Department of Kinesiology. The mission of this department is to enhance health and well-being for people throughout their lifespan through careers in allied health fields, in teaching and coaching, and in sport enterprises, as well as in higher education, government, and industry. Graduates have earned degrees in athletic training, exercise and sport science, health and physical education, or sport management and policy.
Elizabeth Perry Gibbs.
Eva Elizabeth Morel.
Abisola Rebecca Akinbobola. James Peter Faulkner.
Mary A. Toole.
Clayton Thomas Henderson. Ian C. Doherty.
Sarah Paige McDaniel.
Michaela Elise Green. Brianna S. Hutchings. Bailey Alexander Cherry.
Noah Thomas Richards.
Bryce Alexander Fowler. John M. Fowler.
Charles Bennett Marino. Meredith A. Pope. Macy Nicole Seidner.
Margaret Collins Chandler.
Sydney K. Payne.
Molly Elizabeth Lee. Braden Dunn Hill. Uchemdarim Naomi Ibebunjo.
Devin L. Robinson.
Brody Austin Couch.
Zachary Wright Mathis.
Anna C. Boss.
Ian J. Spittler.
Nicholas T. Batchelor. Aaron J. S. Burris. Abigail Grace Armstrong.
Devin Charles Williams. Jade D. Wester. Patricia Marie McClear.
Benjamin Isaac Stoffel.
Caitlin Marie Henley. Annalisa Finnemore.
Abigail Lee Scott.
The next graduates have earned degrees from the Department of Educational Psychology, whose graduates focus on teaching, learning, human development, and behavior. Graduates have earned degrees in applied cognition and development, gifted in creative education, quantitative methods, or school psychology.
Kelsey Airgood Forrester. Danielle M. Jones.
Lorraine Dion Montague.
The next graduates have earned degrees from the Department of Mathematics, Science, and Social Studies Education. Graduates of this department have expertise in curriculum, instruction, assessment, and the use of technology in teaching mathematics or science or social studies in pre-K through 12 schools, higher education, and informal education settings, such as museums and botanical gardens. These graduates have earned degrees in mathematics education, science education, or social studies education.
Ariana Nicole Anthony. Ashley Jordan Adam.
Amelia F. McCullough. Mallory Trouts.
Anastasia N. Croft. Sammy Kim. Sarah Lillian Gillanders. Charlie M. Farmer.
Sophia Grace Wilson.
Margaret May Knaus.
Victoria Hannah Parra. Eder Alonso Villegas.
We now turn to the Department of Counseling and Human Development Services. This department prepares students who will pursue careers in counseling and student affairs in a range of settings, and with an emphasis on social justice and underserved populations. Graduates have earned degrees in college student affairs administration, counseling psychology, mental health counseling, and school counseling.
Ansley Schmidt.
Next, we recognize the graduates of the Department of Lifelong Education Administration and Policy. These professionals will lead and improve educational programs to support schools for students in preschool through 12th grade, and will serve in leadership roles in higher education, community agencies, and continuing education settings. Graduates in the department have earned degrees in Educational Administration and Policy or Human Resources and Organizational Development.
Brian Dean Harbor. Jessica Louise Keever. Charlene W. Botley.
Jalissa Lorena Ortiz.
Laura Eloise DeMars.
The next graduates have all earned degrees from the Department of Workforce Education and Instructional Technology. These new alumni will continue the department's focus on innovative teaching, research, and service. Graduates in this department have earned degrees in learning, design, and technology, or workforce education.
Giovanna A. Garcia.
Donna E. Mandujano.
Shira Megan Faith Barksdale Barron.
Wanda Elise Tanner.
James Rouse Kelly. Brandy K. Harris.
Amanda Ray Shimon.
That brings us to our final department, the Department of Language and Literacy Education. This department provides cutting-edge instruction marked by innovative design, challenging content, and rich professional relationships. Graduates have earned degrees in English education, literacies in children's literature, or teaching English to speakers of other languages.
Juoshuan Xia.
Jamilet M. Aubin. Morgan Marie King. Ebonique B. Bosby. Brandy J. Haffermals. Olivia Lane Jones.
Olivia A. Sainer. Nadrika Morris.
It's my pleasure to present to you the class of 2022. At this time, I would like to recognize our graduates who have attained exceptional academic honors. If you are graduating cum laude, please stand. If you are graduating magna cum laude, please stand. And if you are graduating summa cum laude, please stand. And I want to recognize a truly stellar group of students, our first honor graduates, who are graduating with a perfect 4.0 grade point average. First honor graduates, please stand. Congratulations to all of you on these outstanding achievements. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our final speaker for 2022, Brandy Jo Haffermals, who is graduating with a master's degree in English education. She's also receiving a TESOL endorsement and previously earned a bachelor's degree in English education through our Double Dogs program. Brandy Jo is an English teacher at Eastside High School in Newton County. While an undergraduate, she was engaged on campus and in the community, serving as a mentor and tutor at 3 different schools and working on campus at the main library. Brandy Jo's academic excellence and service orientation exemplify the best of the Mary Frances Early College of Education. Brandy Jo, please come to the podium.
of dedicated faculty, staff, friends, family, and the graduating class of 2022. Now, often convocations are given by those who have achieved the unimaginable, those that we would look to and hope to one day be like. I cannot stand up here and tell you of all the unimaginable things that I have done or why you would want to be like me, but I can tell you simply who I am and the simple reason why the Mary Frances Early College of Education has made a significant impact in my life. My name is Brandy Jo Haffermalls. I am a 23-year-old 9th and 10th grade English teacher, a teacher who herself was once a reluctant student. You see, it was not my dream as a child to become a teacher. Honestly, I dreaded the early hours of school and saw very, very, very little value in education. I failed to see potential within myself, even when others saw it within me, and just firmly believed I was not smart enough to achieve my goals. I compared myself to everyone, even my siblings, and firmly believed I just was not enough. This college, however, has equipped me with a critical lesson that has aided me in getting to this point, a now two-time graduate of the Mary Frances Early College of Education, only this time with a master's degree and thankfully a little pay raise. We might not make money, but we definitely make a difference. The critical lesson that I've learned, however, has not come through a specific course, assignment, or project. Rather, it has come through the professors, administrators, and students who compose this college. And that critical lesson is this: no matter what profession you plan on engaging in leaving this university, make sure that those around you feel seen. That was the difference for me. The Mary Frances Early College of Education created an environment where I felt seen, and most importantly, seen for who I was. Have I Googled smart ways to say, insert word here, before turning in a paper? Yes, absolutely, all the time. Have I had students raise their hand and ask a question Ms. H does not know the answer to? Yes, absolutely, all the time. But that is the beautiful thing about this college. It has taught me that it does not matter what role I am in, Brandy Jo or Ms. H, student or teacher. In whatever role I am playing, I am being seen. I can only hope that those in my world feel equally seen by me. Now, I'm also a firm believer that those who graduate this college go on to impact the world in tremendous ways. I am now in my second year of teaching, and let me tell you guys, this job is tough. Shout out to our professors, because teaching the scholars of tomorrow is absolutely exhausting, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But I'm not just here to talk about teaching. Others here are graduating to serve in other equally important aspects of the education field, the business field, and the medical field. So don't worry, you will be just as exhausted as all of us teachers. Now, possibly the best and most terrifying part of all of our jobs is that we are engaging with real work that actually matters. We have the ability to impact the leaders of tomorrow. 16-year-old me who skipped out on summer reading again is looking at me up here right now thinking, whoa, 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 you're gonna put her in charge of 150 high schoolers? Yeah, that's crazy. But here's the thing, no matter where we came from or what we have envisioned for our future, this is where we are now, and we do have the ability to do something great. I know I don't have to tell you guys of the obstacles that we have encountered throughout these last few years. However, we made it. I say we, because graduating took more than just an effort on our part, right? Those who are here with us today, family and friends who are here to support us, even though some of us have been a bit MIA as we've worked to obtain this degree, or perhaps who we just continuously complained and vented to as we forged through sleepless nights. Our professors who challenged us, who unknowingly had us at tears and 1 in the morning, but who also cared for us deeply. And our staff members who provided us with the digital and physical resources and made sure that we had a place to call home. We forged through these uncertain times and prevailed stronger than ever with the help of those around us. All of us are graduating from a college that plants passion, pushes boundaries, encourages growth, and empowers us to empower others. A college that tested our limits, but it also let us test theirs. A college that grew with us, that showed us that change is possible. The Mary Frances Early College of Education has instilled with us the skills, tools, and confidence to improve the world around us, and I hope all of us go on to do just that. So as I stand up here today, I cannot help but think about the reluctant student who once embodied me. How shocked she would be to know I willingly continued through college, obtained my master's degree, I'm currently giving the speech at graduation, and I'm actually continuing my education with the Mary Frances Early College of Education as I pursue a specialist degree today. How little faith she had in herself, and how naive she was to believe she was not enough. So yes, I may Google gargantuan words sometimes, but I am confident that I am enough without those big words. I am confident that any student who enters my classroom will feel seen for who they truly are, a concept Dr. Cater and Dr. Hogan showed me first. So most of you are probably looking at me still thinking, who is this girl and can she stop talking? So, to wrap it up simply, I am Brandy Jo Haffermalls, a Double Dog graduate of the best college at the University of Georgia. This is the first place where I truly felt seen, and I hope you all know that you are seen too. So to all of you, I say congratulations, and as my principal, Mr. Jeff Chur, says every day to students and staff, always remember that there is no such thing as an unimportant person or an unimportant day. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Everyone has many reasons to be proud today and many reasons to celebrate. I want to take a moment to thank the families and friends who have supported our graduates. I also want to thank the faculty and staff members who, in ways both visible and behind the scenes, have helped our graduates achieve their goals. In particular, I want to thank the staff members from the Offices of Academic Programs, Undergraduate Advising, Student Engagement, Information Technology, Communications, and Outreach and Engagement who made today's convocation possible. Graduates, you are now alumni of the Mary Frances Early College of Education. You are a member of a community that includes over 60,000 living alumni. As exemplified by Mary Frances Early, Kim Bearden, and many others, our alumni have gone on to make important contributions in Georgia, the nation, and the world. We look forward in the future to hearing with great pride about the impressive accomplishments and important contributions of the class of 2022. Please wear those MFE COE t-shirts with pride, take the coffee cup you're about to get with you to work or grad school, and follow us on social media, and stay in touch and let us know what you're doing. And remember the words of Mary Frances Early. In whatever your job or career path, I hope that you will make your flight reflect a love and respect for all people. Because if we don't unite and work together and make good things happen at UGA and in our world, nothing else will matter. To end our ceremony today, I'm going to invite Brandy Jo to return to the podium to lead the class of 2022 in Calling the Dogs. Following that, the platform party and the graduates will recess to the lobby. Graduates, you will receive your gift there, and then families, you're welcome to join us there after the ceremony. After the ceremony, you are welcome to come back in here and take pictures with the arch or other decorations, but please let the graduates and the platform party get out first, and then families can come back out. So Brandy Jo, microphone's yours.
Well, didn't know we were doing this. All right. Y'all- Yeah, stand up. We're all doing this together. Come on. All right, ready? Go.